After working 17 years as an actress in Hollywood, I realized that I hated it and I had to completely create a new life. In this video, I'm going to show you the three main things that I did to completely transform my life from something I hated to a life that I absolutely love. I remember sitting in the car getting ready for an audition. I think it was at like CBS Studios. And I was going over my lines and I was preparing for an audition where I was playing a girl who was both drunk and high and trapped in a bathroom at a party. And that was the premise of the scene that I was auditioning for. And I was in the car and I was like, I don't want to get out the car. I don't want to do this. Like everything in me did not want to be there and did not want to go to this audition and did not want to really be doing this as an actress anymore. But this was my life. I have been acting since I was 7 years old. I went to school for this. My life was wrapped around this, and I couldn't possibly see how I could just walk away. And while I was sitting in the car, I just remember saying, I don't want to do this. I want to inspire women. And what I meant was, like, I didn't want to keep perpetuating these negative views of women, negative views of women of color in media. And I didn't want to keep doing something that someone was making me do. Like in my mind, I wanted freedom. I didn't want to audition for a role that you say I have to audition for, a character you say I have to be in a TV or series or a movie or whatever that you wrote. Didn't want to live a life that was completely controlled for me. And so as I was sitting in that car, I remember saying, I just want to inspire women. And I got out, I walked in, got checked in. I walked up to where the audition was and I signed in and I sat down. And the whole time I was just thinking, I just want to leave. I just want to leave. And then I heard God say, well, why don't you? And I was like, I was stunned. And I was like, what do you mean? I can't leave. This is my life. Like, this is all I know. Like, there's nothing else. And I heard God like, if you want to leave, then just go. At that moment, like before they called my name, I got up, I walked out, and I left and I ran to my car. And I was sobbing. I remember sobbing in the car, getting in my car, driving off, and then my phone started blowing up. My manager, my agent, they were all blowing up my phone, wondering where I was. And I had decided in that moment it was over. I was meant for something so much more. And so that's why number one is making the decision. It's deciding to go from living a life for other people to living a life that is in alignment with who you were created to be, who God created you to be. Living in alignment with that, as opposed to living outside of yourself. At that time, I had no clue what I was going to do. There was no plan B, there was no backup, there was no nothing. In that moment, I had to not only decide to do something different, but decide to figure out what it is that I really wanted. And that goes into step number two. First, decide, and then you start to discover what it is that you really enjoy. So there were a lot of things in my life that I enjoyed at that time. I enjoyed singing, I enjoyed performing, I enjoyed worship, I enjoyed social media, I enjoyed marketing, I enjoyed watching influencers online, watching YouTube videos. All of those things I enjoyed, and I started to realize that as I started to listen, as I started to read, as I started to look up things on social media, I started to discover, wow, that interests me. Wow, that's really cool. Wow, I like what that person's doing. And I started to learn more about those things. You can't really figure out what you like until you actually go and do it. I can have an idea that I might enjoy horseback riding. But if I've never gotten on a horse, then I don't know if I really like horseback riding. So it's not enough to just have a concept or an idea of something that you would like, but you have to actually go and do it. And the interesting thing is, you might go and try something and realize you absolutely hate it. And that's okay. When you start to discover, who you are and what you really enjoy, you're going to find that I thought I liked this, but I don't really like this. And remember, you don't hold on to anything that is not really in alignment for you. Don't just keep doing something because you're so embarrassed that you told everybody that now you're going to go into this new thing and now you're doing it and now you don't like it anymore. And you're embarrassed to tell people that, you failed, or you no longer want to do that thing anymore. I was like that. I've been like that a lot. And that's another reason why I don't tell everybody everything. When I do things, I do a whole lot in private. And I mean, even from my family, from my friends, I do so much in private because I don't want to come back and say, oh my gosh, I'm going into sales. And then I start sales and I realize it's not really where I want to be. And then I have to come back and be like, oh, I'm not doing that anymore. I'm now on to something else. I got really sick of doing that. Some things will stick and some things won't, but it's all a part of the learning and growth process. So that's why I like to keep a lot to myself, because I don't feel the need to want to tell everybody everything so that they can just be confused by me. If you are an entrepreneur or you want to go in business for yourself or something like that, so many people are not going to get you because most people don't do that and most people aren't wired in that way. And so they're going to give you all this negative talk.
They're going to tell you what you can't do, what they heard somebody do, and they weren't able to do it. So why do you think you could do it? Or they don't think those things would work for you.
You can't listen to any of that. You decided that you are going to change your life and you are going to do something you absolutely love, and you're discovering that and you're learning about that, and you have to give yourself grace on that journey, grace in that process. You're not going to be perfect. Everything won't go exactly the way you thought it would go, but you're on a journey of discovery. Understand the journey. Once you discover the things that you really enjoy, you're going to want to do them more. And you're going to kind of start to dive into, think like Alice in Wonderland. You're going to kind of dive into a rabbit hole of discovering this new thing that you're finding. And you're going to get so many downloads. You're going to start to receive the little nudges. Like God's going to start to speak to you, and you're going to start to really understand which path to go in. Please note, you're going to think, you know what, I don't have the full picture. I don't really know where to start. I don't really know what to do. And I don't want you to get stuck in this place of like a complaining space, like a space of like, I don't understand, I don't know, I just can't. Don't get stuck in that place. Understand that this is a journey and you're on a journey, right? So as you're on this journey, God's going to start to reveal things to you over time. So just because you don't understand what things are supposed to look like right now doesn't mean that tomorrow, next week, or next month, or next year you won't fully understand the whole picture. But you have to be ready for the full picture. So funny, because as I start to really understand the full scope of like what God has for me, like my gifts, my experience, my talents, my skill sets, when I start to see kind of like what all of that it has accumulated to create, I get overwhelmed. And it's so funny because I was I was just crying about not crying, but I was just overwhelmed by the fact that I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. And then when I start to God starts to reveal that vision to me, I'm like, okay, I'm too overwhelmed. Don't show me that much. You're never really at a place where everything is just perfect. It's not ever just perfect. You're given exactly what you need at the moment, at the exact moment that you need it. And you just have to trust the process and understand that you're on the journey, and the journey is going to keep going. And as you continue on the journey, you're going to start to understand things. God's going to start to reveal things to you, and just trust that. Like, don't get stuck in the complaining about what you don't have, what you don't know, what you don't like, because it just throws you out of alignment with all of the negative self-talk that you're starting to do for yourself. You're going to start to think your way and talk your way out of what's meant for you. So don't get stuck in that trap. Just focus on what you have in front of you, work with what you currently have, and as you continue to do that more, you are going to start to understand the path that you're supposed to be on, and the vision is going to start to be made clear to you so that you can move forward. But you're always going to get another piece of the puzzle, and once you get another piece, you're like, oh yes, let me move in that direction. And then you get another piece, yes, let me move in that direction. And just understand that things are going to unfold the way they're meant to unfold. You don't need the whole puzzle. Just look for the next piece. The third thing is to commit to the vision. You have to commit to growing every single day. Your growth, your new life, a life that you love, is worth it. So commit to that growth every single day, doing the things that you need to do to move yourself forward. And then faith. You have to learn how to have faith and believe for things that you cannot see. I cannot see this amount of money in my bank account, but that doesn't mean that I don't believe that it's going to happen. You may not be able to see yourself in that career. You may not be able to see yourself doing that thing that you don't know anybody else who does it and makes money doing it. You may not be able to see yourself doing that, but you have to have the faith to be able to say, I can't see it, but I know it can be done. Because God wouldn't have given me this or put this in my heart if it wasn't going to be manifested. So I have to walk by faith and not by sight. If you are going to get stuck in only believing what you see, you will never get out of the rat race. You will never get to have the life that you desire. It is only by faith. It is only by acting sight unseen, believing what is not there. I did not know how in the world I could possibly inspire women and let that be my job, my career, when I walked away from acting. Did not know. But here I am, hopefully inspiring you on this video. And it's been many, many years since that moment I had. But I believed it. I walked away knowing that this thing inside of me, I cannot ignore, won't ignore, and I know God has gone before me to make this moment happen. If you can hold the vision, if you can hold the vision and trust that you are created for a purpose, that you have gifts and skills inside of you that you don't even know of, that you are so blessed beyond measure, that you have the ability to cash out on your skills, on your experiences, on your gifts, that you get to completely own who you are, and that gets to be enough, and you get to be paid to do that, and you get to do something every single day that you love. If you believe that, then you will have whatever it is that you want. You'll have this life that you absolutely love. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this one, gotta check out this one.